Well, I'm getting ready to go to work. I can talk a minute on my history. Temperance Flowerdew came over here. She was with her husband. He died on the way over. She just wanted to. I think she came over, and then the governor died, so they decided to knight a commoner, George Yardley. So they took him over to Europe. They knighted him, brought him back, made him governor, and he married Temperance Flowerdew. They had some hard times. The starving winter, they found out they cannibalized some dead people. He died, and then she married somebody else, Argyle maybe, and they bought a bunch of land. And then three of her kids I'm a descendant of hers. So Virginia really is like my home. Charles Ellis was in business with Ellis and Allen, an import-export. They've got a diary of his, which is kind of interesting. And the Allens adopted Edgar Allan Poe, but they didn't have kids, so they lived at the Ellises for a while. So my connection to Edgar Allan Poe. During the Civil War, what is his name? He was a judge in the Civil War, and his name was Porter, Judge Porter. And his daughter Jenny Porter married an Ellis, my great-great-granddad, and he started a stove business in Birmingham, and they were members of the country club and all that. And I've got a trunk of some of her things, her clothing, and I donated her opera coat. I could wear it, so I wore it to one of Paul de Pascali's openings of his Confederate flag, which was nice. And he explained to me the green. He says, it's just a story. And I said, not to us. We lost all our help. And to me, they just, it's sad, terrible. They were not property. They were people, and we couldn't have done what we did without them. So they deserve all the education we can possibly give them, and corporations need to do that. The corporations that were built on the backs of slavery need to educate the black people that are still suffering in segregated neighborhoods, and that's just how I see it. I don't think the taxpayer has to do this. I think the corporations like Altria and whoever else benefited and built a corporation from the slavery, they need to go in and make sure all these people are getting educated, and they're not doing it. It's just, I've been in the hood. I've been in Gilpin and Mosby and Creighton, and I want music lessons for these kids. These poor little kids, they can't run around barefoot because of broken glass, and they don't have play sets. That broke my heart not to see them having swing sets and things like that, not knowing how to swim, not being taught. And I wrote the Mars Foundation, and they wrote me back and said they didn't think they could help. Who the heck buys all that candy? A lot of black people do, and you can't help educate. And that's not just sitting at a desk doing work. That's going snow skiing. That's going scuba diving. That's traveling. The general knowledge of an American citizen involves some of those things. It's not Uganda where we're cannibalizing people, but this is the United States, and you need a United States education, which means going to Disney, those kind of things. And they feel it. That's why they're angry, and I don't blame them. Don't blame them a bit. So, and if, we want to keep our country strong, we got to keep people out of prison. That's draining us, and welfare is draining us. They can't go to school if they're on welfare. They can't afford a car. So I see it as Plato's cave. And it's funny that the Baptist church in Gilpin, I went to the Baptist church on Monument, a very wealthy church, and they didn't seem to want to help. I was like, hey, but you're Christian. They don't care. So it was a bunch of frustration, and so I just decided to make some videos about it. I would think that maybe at certain times the adults, I met some wonderful, very beautiful adults in the project housing that are just so open, and they were like, yeah, let's do swim teams in the summer. That sounds great. And I met some ones that were unhappy and not very nice, and I met some really wonderful, beautiful pretending to go to Disney. And the sisters said, no, she just pretends. She's not going. Why? Can't we figure this out? And the ones do you really think these people are stupid? No, if you lived over there, if you were born there, if your grandmother was in segregation and couldn't read or write and probably couldn't read you books, didn't play a musical instrument, you would probably be having trouble too. So don't say it's because they're black, because that's not it. It's called Plato's Cape. They live over there and they don't get the advantages that a lot of people have in the United States. And so let's fix it and have the corporations pay for it. Thank you.